number until this is done. And there's some things in there that actually, and they can't do any more than that in that whole thing unless they come back and ask, so.
Not necessarily 600 apartments, it's 600 apartments and or townhomes, so it doesn't automatically give them the right for 600 apartments.
Yeah.
And that's actually good for us on a property this size.
And it says that no more than 150 can be in one unit area, and no more than 300 can be in area A, which is the area surrounding this, and then 300 can be over off Chamber.
So we wouldn't have say in legally for that, but we would still have say as far as, they still have to get the master development plan approved. So like amenities, what it looks like, design,
Yes, absolutely.
architecture, all that would,
Those things are absent as to a lot of this, and that would have to be dealt with at that time, when they come to the master development.
But on those apartments, there's two different sections where they're at, because one of them actually could be done now, and it is,
Apartments or townhomes. So
yeah.
I don't.
But it can be done now without anything in front of it because of, but the other one, you do have to build the homes.
Development plan,
Yeah.
and stuff for the master.
if we, I mean, what I'm kind of stuck here. If this doesn't pass tonight, that has no bearing on the 1998 plan.
No, in fact, this property goes back to it.
Portion of it, so that plan becomes a little bit smaller in area A.
Yeah, but like we're not, we can't, I mean, I'm struggling a little bit because I hate, parts of what in the 1998 plan, but that's not what we're voting on today.
Yep.
That's correct. That's not what's before you, Rick.
But you're making it stricter in this area than what the 98 plan said it could be. So this is much stricter.
And
So we,
I want to say this, because I was critical of some things, but I do want to, let the staff know, and you guys too, like, it obviously, a lot of work went into this from what was originally presented to us at the planning commission meeting that you guys pulled. Like, this is 100 times better than what that was. So I do want to thank you guys for the work that you did on that.
And the last thing I have on it is, it's just, the concerns I have, and I think they are concerns, and they should be. It's like on B1 restricted back then, wholesale trade limit, auto parts, fuel, gasoline service stations, retail. There's a lot of things in there that, Mike, I understand, but I just want to take my few minutes. But I would
Taking
suggest.
22 minutes, not 45, so
No, but
I just wanted to point that out since you pointed that out.
I'm still 20 more minutes before I get to y'all's green space, okay? But I do want to caution the board before, if this passes, before you vote to pay for having sewer run to it, you take all of this 23 pages and read it and understand what's in here before you do that. Because there's a lot of things in here that you wouldn't want to have, and you couldn't afford to do, and there's a lot of things in here the town of Arlington does not want. And none of it's to benefit me.
Well, again, go ahead, Mr. Bond.
Well, I just want to, and I appreciate your sentiments, Vice Mayor. I vote on things, I don't always vote with, the way that the applicant wants me to either. So I understand that. But I would like to make just offer this up is if this board turns down this plan tonight on this piece of property, the balance of the PD is still in place. We could still make application on it. It's actually, that's going to be discussions for another day without regard to what your vote is here tonight. What we wanted to do tonight was bring forward a plan that meets your town's long-range land use plan and bring it in such a way that you would like it better than what the old PD had. And so that's what we've tried to do. And so I understand because, again, the scale is daunting to try to execute it not only from a regulatory standpoint, from y'all's standpoint, but also from us as a production standpoint. What's the best move to make at the right time? Because, again, the utilities are a concern for us, and they're going to be a big problem to tackle. But tonight, we're just asking you to approve something that matches your land use plan so that we can move on to the next step to know where we're going from here. Because I think you can see, we want to be good partners with the town.
Yeah, and I agree, this is much better plan than what we started with at the work session. It really is. My concerns are completely different than what this plan is. But at least, Gerald, I believe on this segment here, it does with the state, I think the state has a 3-year, is it not 3-year? The town, I know our town's 1 year. The first plan that it had, there was no timeline at all.
Assuming that this outline plan gets approved tonight, under the state vesting law, they have, it's up to 15 years. It's staged now on how it's vested. They have 3 years. If they don't operate and take it to the next level and begin construction, then it will expire after 3 years. So
There has to be something ongoing in it
you wouldn't
to
have
go
the
to
same
3.
situation like you had in the 1998, they didn't have an expiration when there are others. This is, one.
But if they can't,
I know about it, it hasn't go-
but if they can't, they can come to the board for an extension? Okay. Years ago, when this 1998 plan, there was no such thing as that, and there was no expiration date. No, but you're used to be boss did.
There's only one person that was here.
Yeah, that was my concern.
Okay, any other
I
comments?
make it that the plan's great, much better. I appreciate you listening and bringing back a better plan and, than the original. And I think from what we talked about in multiple meetings, that this reflects what our desires of that area are. And closer to where you live, out near Piperton, where those buildings were shown, how long has that development been approved and planned, do you know?
The one
Well,
there along
Piperton,
Keys.
Collierville, yeah.
Well, it wasn't really a development, that was just straight zoned industrial
Okay.
land that was acquired by users, but I know that where Pyramex was originally acquired by Bodine Company to move their facility down there back in the early 2000s. So you can see,
That's my point, is that even with this, that the first building to be constructed is probably 10 or 15 years down the road, because you got sewer, you got plan, you got to develop it, you got to move dirt, you got to, everything with it. And so it's definitely, there'll be some extensions, et cetera, to get to that point. But I just want to say, it ain't coming up overnight.
And mine was just 22 minutes versus his 35 minutes. So
Well, you changed your time. You said he had 40. Mr. Brooks?
I'm gonna keep mine short. So for me, taking this out of that original development makes a lot of sense. So what we're doing here is correcting issues with a plan from 98 on this portion of land. We're correcting issues that were made in 98. Fix it one piece at a time is the only way you can fix it. You eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? This piece of property you're talking about is an elephant, one bite at a time. So each one of these bites that you take out of it, and we correct it as we go forward, is a win. So that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Fix it, one bite at a time.
Any other comments? Mr. Harmon?
I have pretty much the same concerns as Alderman McKee on this. I'm not going to go into everything because he's pretty much hit on everything. But yeah, the two big things that I'm looking at is us paying for the sewer to get there, and then once the sewer gets there, what are they going to do first? You know, that's my big concern. So.
the only reason I brought this up, Gerald has taught us in the past that if we have, something comes before us and we're not for it, we should state why we're not for it. If we're for it, we should state why we're for it. Because anything is controversial, we shouldn't just vote yes or no without stating why. And that's why I brought mine up.
Any other questions or comments? All right. Mr. Vaughn.
I do want to let the board know that that if you'll allow us to work with staff, if this does pass tonight, that we will include language that the walking trail will go from Donaldson
That's
Farms
right.
all
I
the
was
way.
about to ask that question. Have we added the condition, or is it noted? I mean, mean, do
Do
we have
you
to make an
need to say
official
that?
motion, or do we have to make a, all right, so I need a motion to amend, make a condition. All right, motion by Mr. Biggs.
Second.
Second, so are we need to be clear on, it's already, y'all are gonna spell it out, staff will spell that out, how that's gonna work? Okay. All in favor of that amendment, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, so now we're back on the main motion of the project as a whole. Any other discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Mr. McKee and Mr. Harmon. That item passes.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much for y'all's support.
Thank you. All right, let me scroll down here and see if I can find item C real quick. As you're making your way up there, Mr. Hill. I didn't, too many pages to go through. Geez. Item C, Resolution 2024-47, designating to amend the future land development plan with a future road plan exhibit as a guide for physical development. Mr. Hill.
Thank you, Mayor. This was presented to the Planning Commission last month. What we're trying to accomplish here is to just have as part of the future land development plan, have some more details about future roads that we're going to need. I tell everybody there's places north of the interstate where I wish I'd had a road, but I didn't think of it, or somebody before me didn't think of it. I'm trying to keep us from getting painted into that corner south of the interstate predominantly. That's where this project is focusing on. And, whoop, I went too far. So we don't have the map. It is in your board book. You think you can get that up, or you'll? At the Planning Commission meeting, there were a couple of revisions that were made to the road network, specifically over off of Chester. We had a couple of road connections into existing developments that frankly would be difficult to do if property owners weren't agreeable, and would be pretty controversial. So we did modify the plan to remove a couple of those connections. But the intent of this is just, you know, when somebody comes with any development, and the Donaldson PD may be the first one that we have to put these conditions on. You know, there'll be places where we want road connections when property develops. And so that's what the intent of this is, and particularly when you're looking at north-south and east-west connections in South Arlington, there's so much of that area down there that is sort of landlocked by Cypress Creek floodway. So you're going to need connections west, south. You know, the north side's I-40, so you can't connect up there. So we're trying to get ourselves some future road planning, and all of these they'll be moved as planning happens, as development happens. We'll say we need a north-south connection. We show it here. It may move 200 feet this way or 1,000 feet that way, but let's get that connection. So that's the intent of this. It's not, you know, setting in stone any more than the land use plan sets in stone what's going to happen. It just sort of guides our planning processes. So here's the plan. Thank you, Brittany. And this is the modified plan. As I mentioned, there were a couple of connections we had in this area that got changed. This now connects up to, that's all right. Technology, don't you love it? So, very quickly, what this plan shows is the road network. If you remember, the Dr. Kumar development had some planning done out there. It may or may not happen. We don't know, but at least at this point, we're saying we do want Arlington Trail all the way through, and then that'll connect up to, what's the road there? I'm forgetting the name of.
Larry Anderson.
Larry Anderson Road, yes. And so.
Larry Anderson Road.
And then as the, is that Woodland Estates?
Yeah.
You know, that road network there is sort of defined by Woodland Estates, but we do want to get a road going north-south, parallel to Chester and parallel to Airline that takes us all the way down, at least north of Cypress Creek. So we're showing that. We're showing some east-west connections. We're showing a road sort of paralleling 385 sort of to the west, things like that. And then the bigger impact is areas down here where we need east-west and north-south connections in different locations. The way this was developed was to take the future land use plan, do some actual projections of how much development would happen, of what type, commercial, residential, et cetera, and what kind of traffic will that generate, so what roads do we need? And that's what the genesis of this was. So we're recommending this be adopted as part of the future land use plan. One other thing I'll point out is that in the past, we've had Donaldson Farms Parkway going all the way to Fayette County line. It's not on here, and if you look at Fayette County, there's no road over there to connect to. So there's really no reason to take it there.
We going nowhere.
There's a lot of large estate lots over there that are already developed, so you're really not going to get a road through there. So otherwise, it's kind of, here's what we think we need, and I recommend we adopt this.
City locations were a big part of taking into consideration where roads would go to. We met with NLGNW a couple of years ago, and they want to make sure we have enough north-south connections, not just east-west connections. So utility placement with sewer and water and gas, electric were taken into consideration with road locations as well.
That's a heck of a plan.
When I was looking in the packet, and there was September 2024 map and November 2024, it was like, where's Waldo? Because I could not find the changes. It was like that game that you play when they give you two pictures and find the differences. I couldn't find them. So it's what you were just describing, though, is that right there?
It's right in this area. Yeah, that was what September showed. There was connection
And then
into
one for Donaldson Farms Parkway.
Rolling Hills subdivision. We were saying maybe we need a couple of connections in there. That's a long dead-end street, but I think it will be controversial if we tried to do that. So let's just, at this point, we won't do that.
Okay.
I know this is for new roads, but one I meant to ask about at the Planning Commission, Mott Street between Quintard and Chester. It's real narrow. It's really like a lane and a half, but I didn't realize we had the easements. We had the easements that go into some of those yards because we've taken down the trees. So I don't know if at this point or someplace, can we look and see what it takes to maybe expand that to at least to get 2 lanes? Because it's pretty narrow. When 2 cars are coming through there, they have to pull off.
You know what I was told, maybe Kathy will know this, I was told like, where, was Phil's place? They own out into the street.
That's typical in old blocks of real estate where, I mean, my kitchen shows that it should be the middle of Brown Street. So that's the way land descriptions were written back then.
So is there an easement that goes?
Well, there was 2 in some of the neighboring houses where our trees were in the,
The asphalt is typically all you have on all your old.
is that 18 feet? Is that 18 feet?
We'll have to go check it out.
It used to be.
Drainage is also a big issue
I've
in
looked
that
up.
area. So you get to widening roads and you're talking about an area that's very flat and we have drainage problems down there.
I know. I just know that you all drive it. It's very tight with 2 cars. It looks
Can't just
more
think
narrow
about
than normal.
widening the road, you have to think about what that does to the drainage and whether or not you've got enough fall to make sure you're positive drainage.
Just all I ask is for it to be looked at.
Yeah,
But
Kathy
that
brought
is-
that up to me once when I was actually looking to purchase a piece of property on that street. And some that was pointing me, Lane Watson owned one too, that actually their property went out into the
Brittany, can you
street.
scroll up a little bit on the map?
And years and years and years
Or
ago,
scroll,
the
yeah.
town was first laid out and went off of the wrong right-of-way width of the railroad. So all of the old lots in the old part of town are shifted over 25 feet in the wrong direction. Yep, Gerald's got the map up right here.
It's platted in the original Hazel plat. That was part of the area that is laid out on there. It's not uncommon for your deed to say you go to the center line of road, but the right-of-way easement is what's referred. So even though it says you own it in the middle of the road, there's a road there. The state, the city, the county owns a reservation of easement for the right-of-way use. As opposed to now we require a plat where it's actually dedicated, but that
Are you talking about the section between,
Where
Quintard
between
and
Brenda
Chester.
Lay and Chester, right there by the road, in front of the floral shop,
yes,
right there. Just that little section. I just,
All those businesses except that one corner house on Chester there is commercial now. I mean, they can't go back to residential, correct?
If they're not currently being used as residential.
They're all used as
then no.
commercial except for the one on the corner that she still lives in. I think all the rest of them are commercial.
yeah. I just don't know if it's really part of this discussion, but I just wanted to get it looked at, and that's
Okay.
it. Because I get asked that a lot through there from
I
some
mean,
of the
I
businesses.
think we've got some roads in the old part of town, that streets that we probably wish were wider or better, and that's.
I just,
certainly-
but a lot of them are residential, and it's a little different. With that one being more commercial now, it does
Yeah.
create some more. I know we paved it recently, and so it's in good shape, but it's just, I'd say that thing's 15 feet. I'd say it's 15.
There's a half a tire off the road each direction.
So-
One question, Steve, and I'm glad this is on there, from Milton Wilson down to, I can't remember the name of the street, the road that is part of the TIF district.
Oh. Over here?
No,
Or over here?
no, right there where he's pointing at,
Behind Olympic and all that.
behind Olympic and all that. Yeah, it dead ends on Will Harris. Would it not make sense to go ahead and have that extended down to that future road that's part of Hawthorne, so that people could exit out of Hawthorne and head all the way up to Milton Wilson?
Is that part of the TIF?
The Hawthorne layout, what
That
you
is
see
Summers
here
Road
are
right
the
there, right?
Hawthorne roads. This future road, that's the realigned
Yep.
Summers, at least up here, and then it's the new road into Hawthorne, as is that. You would be able to come here and turn left if you wanted to make that connection, rather than going out to Airline. But the way it's laid out now, there's going to be an intersection here and another one here, unless we make them change the Hawthorne layout to
Could, yeah, it'd be nicer if they just,
I'm just saying, if you brought it all the way down, you actually could turn Summers into where it actually goes all the way up to Milton Wilson. You know what I'm saying?
That's a change to the PD is what Mr. Hill's saying.
Yeah, right now,
It's a
they,
change to the PD.
that's about where their little brewery is proposed to be. You'd have to get them to redo their
Okay.
PD to make that a direct,
Ultimately, they don't have a site plan either, so we don't, it's all schematic at this point too, you know, so as we go through the site planning process, that's something that we can maybe look at during the site planning process as well.
it would be nice if you,
Road was writing right out Overland? Was it the one to the west?
Yeah, I don't know if it was
Or
actually
was
a
it
right
like
in,
a
right?
just a
Well, what they
jog?
did is they made it primarily to go south to keep people from going into that neighborhood.
More
So
like a traffic
basically, you
light.
have you have a stop sign to go to the neighborhood.
That's the yellow strip going up right there. Yeah.
that is, right here, that's going to be, the yellow, the tan part would come up and curve to in line with Summer, and then this would be a T intersection from the west, is the way it's currently laid out. But again, we will have specific details to work out.
Schematic at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I showed that just because I know what the plan is currently. That may have to change as we go through detailed construction plans for.
Just because it's not on this drawing doesn't mean that we couldn't enact that, right? Because I do think that it would be nice to have that lined up so that it could go all the way up to Milton Wilson. I think that would be,
with a roundabout.
I think, did we even get a motion on this?
no.
We forgot to get a motion on this. So can I get a motion, please? Motion by Mr.
Second.
Brooks. Second by Mr. McKee. All right. I just started thinking, 'cause I was back to the original discussion on the other one. So,
All the stuff we just said,
it's still. What else? So this is a fluid plan too.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, really, we're just voting on a general plan, just like for the thing we voted on earlier. If we-
Clarify, you're not voting on the plan, so the planning commission voted on the plan. The planning commission is certifying it to you. You're not voting to approve the plan or disapprove the plan. You're just recognizing that the planning commission voted on this plan.
Okay. So,
But you still have to have a motion, I guess, huh?
There's a resolution that the motion is to approve the resolution. What the resolution
recognize
In
it.
other words, it makes it more fluid
you were-
than all you're doing is recognizing.
You're just
the language.
recognizing the plan.
We're making a motion to recognize.
So we've got the motion in the second. Any other discussion, since we're just kind of,
Went off the rails.
yeah, we went way off. All right, any other discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That item passes. Any other new business, Mrs. Owens? All right, do I have a motion to approve the bills for payment?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Brooks, second. I know. Ma'am, we'll get to you after the meeting. We can't do that during the meeting, I'm sorry. And then,
Motion to adjourn.
we got, did we get the objection to paying the bills? Do I have a, all right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion and second. Any objection? All right, meeting adjourned. Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Enjoy. That went a little longer than I thought.
Yeah.
Sir.
Stick right that long.
That would be awesome. That's a roundabout. Right there.
I think we ought to have
So
one.
you can go all the way to,
I think we should have one at every intersection in Arlington.
you can go all the way to